The crystal glass shattered against the marble floor. Lady Rosalind Fairmont watched the wine spread like blood across the white stone. Her stepmother stood above her with cold eyes. "You clumsy fool," Lady Catherine hissed. "You cannot even serve wine properly." Rosalind dropped to her knees. Her fingers trembled as she picked up the broken pieces. The sharp edges cut into her skin. Small drops of blood mixed with the wine. "I am sorry, Mother," she whispered. "Do not call me that," Lady Catherine said. "I am not your mother. Your mother was weak. She died and left your father with nothing but you." The dinner guests laughed. Rosalind kept her eyes down. She had learned long ago not to look up, not to hope for kindness, not to expect anything but cruelty. Her father sat at the head of the table. He did not defend her. He never did. Not since he married Lady Catherine 3 years ago. Not since her 2 stepsisters came to live in the house that had once been warm and full of love. "Look at her," Amelia said. She was the eldest stepsister. 25 years old and still unmarried. Who would want such a plain creature? "She is too old," Charlotte added, "and too quiet. Men want beauty and charm. She has neither." Rosalind gathered the last pieces of glass. Her hands shook. She stood slowly. The room spun slightly. She had not eaten today. Lady Catherine said she did not deserve food until she finished all her work, but the work never ended. She cleaned the floors, she mended the clothes, she served the meals, she tended the garden. She was a servant in her own home, a ghost in the house where she was born. "Leave us," Lady Catherine commanded. "You make the air foul with your presence." Rosalind walked from the room. Her head stayed down, her shoulders curved inward. She made herself small, invisible. It hurt less that way. The corridor was dark and cold. The servants had long since stopped lighting fires in her room. They took their orders from Lady Catherine now. To them, Rosalind was nothing, less than nothing. She climbed the stairs to the attic. That was where she slept now, in a small room with a narrow bed and one thin blanket. The wind blew through cracks in the walls. In winter, ice formed on the inside of the window. But it was quiet, and it was hers. Rosalind sat on the bed. She looked at her hands. They were rough and red from work. Her nails were broken. Her fingers bore small scars from needles and thorns and broken glass. She had been beautiful once. Her mother told her so. Her father used to smile at her and call her his little rose, his precious girl. But that man was gone. The father she knew had died with her mother. This new man wore her father's face, but had a stranger's heart. A tear rolled down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly. Tears changed nothing. They only made her eyes red and her nose swell. They gave her stepsisters more reasons to mock her. She lay down on the bed. The mattress was thin. She could feel the wooden slats beneath it. Her stomach ached with hunger. Her body ached with exhaustion. Tomorrow would be the same as today, and the day after that, and the day after that. This was her life now. This was all it would ever be. Or so she thought. Miles away, in a grand estate that covered 3,000 acres, the Duke of Thornbury stood at his window. He looked out at gardens he no longer saw, at beauty that no longer moved him. Adrian Blackwood had everything a man could want: title, wealth, power, respect. But his heart was empty. 3 years ago, his wife had died. She had been young and full of life. Then a fever came. It took her in less than a week. He held her hand as she slipped away. He felt her last breath against his palm, and something inside him died too. He went through the motions of life. He managed his estates. He attended Parliament. He fulfilled his duties. But he felt nothing. The world was grey and cold. Food had no taste. Music had no melody. Even the sun seemed dimmer than before. "Your Grace," his butler said from the doorway, "Lady Hartwell is here to see you." Adrian turned. His aunt swept into the room. She was a small woman, but she moved like a general. Her eyes were sharp. Her mouth was set in a firm line. "You look terrible," she announced. "When did you last eat a proper meal?" "I eat," Adrian said. "You pick at food like a bird," she replied, "and you have the colour of a corpse." "What do you want, Aunt Margaret?" She sat down without being invited. She fixed him with a stare that had made stronger men quail. "You need to remarry," she said. Adrian laughed. It was a harsh sound with no joy in it. "No." "Yes," she said firmly. "You are 32 years old. You need an heir. The title must continue." "I have cousins. Let one of them inherit." "Those idiots," Lady Hartwell snorted. "They would gamble away the fortune in a year. No, you must marry and produce an heir. It is your duty." Duty. That word had ruled his life. Duty to his title. Duty to his family name. Duty to society. Duty to everything and everyone except himself. "I will not love again," he said quietly. "I am not asking you to love," his aunt replied. "I am asking you to marry. Find a suitable girl. Give her your name and your protection. Produce an heir. You need not even see her much if you prefer." "That sounds like hell." "It is life," Lady Hartwell said. "We all do what we must. You think I loved your uncle? I barely knew him when we wed. But I did my duty. I gave him sons. I managed his household. I played my role." "You are a hard woman, Aunt." "I am a practical woman," she corrected. "And I love you, though you are too foolish to see it. You are dying slowly in this house. You need purpose. A wife and child would give you that." Adrian turned back to the window. He knew she was right. He was dying inside. Each day was a little darker than the last. Each month he felt more hollow. But the thought of replacing Elizabeth made him feel sick. Of putting another woman in her place. Of pretending to care when his heart was buried 6 feet under with her. "I will think about it," he said. "Do more than think," Lady Hartwell said. She stood and walked to the door. "I will begin looking for suitable candidates. You will meet them. You will choose one. This is not a request, Adrian. It is an order from someone who loves you." She left before he could argue. Adrian pressed his forehead against the cold glass. His breath fogged the window. Outside, spring was coming. Green shoots pushed through the dark earth. Birds built nests. Life renewed itself. But not for him. Never for him. He had loved once, completely, totally, and it had destroyed him when she left. He would not make that mistake again. He would marry if he must, but his heart would remain locked away, safe, protected, dead but safe. He did not know that fate had other plans, that a broken woman and a broken man were about to collide, that from their wounds would grow something neither expected. Hope. 3 weeks later, Rosalind stood in her father's study. Lady Catherine stood beside him. Both wore matching expressions of satisfaction. "You will marry," her father said. His voice was flat. He did not look at her face. "Who?" Rosalind asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "The Duke of Thornbury," Lady Catherine said. She smiled like a cat with cream. "He seeks a wife. I have arranged everything." Rosalind's legs nearly gave out. The Duke of Thornbury. She had heard of him. Everyone had. He was one of the most powerful men in England, rich beyond measure, titled beyond reach. "Why would he want me?" she asked. "He wants no one," her father said. "His first wife died. His aunt pushes him to remarry. He wants a quiet woman who will not bother him. You are perfect for that." The words cut like knives. A quiet woman who would not bother him. A woman so worthless she would be easy to ignore. "The settlement is generous," Lady Catherine added. "Very generous. Your father will benefit greatly." Of course, this was about money. It was always about money. They would sell her to the Duke. He would pay them well, and she would be shipped off like unwanted furniture. "Do I have a choice?" Rosalind asked. "No," her father said. "You will marry him next week. The arrangements are made." Rosalind felt numb. She had dreamed of marriage once, when she was young and foolish. She had imagined a kind man who would love her, who would see past her plain face to the person inside. But that was a child's dream. This was reality. She would marry a man who did not want her, who wanted only a body to produce an heir. A ghost wife for a ghost duke. "May I go?" she asked. Her father waved his hand in dismissal. She left the room on shaking legs. In the hallway, her stepsisters waited. They had been listening at the door. "You are marrying a duke," Amelia said. She sounded angry. "You, the ugly duckling." "It is not fair," Charlotte added. "We are prettier, we are younger, we should marry dukes." "He does not want you," Lady Catherine said from the doorway. "He wants someone plain and quiet, someone who will fade into the walls, someone who will not embarrass him. Your stepsister is perfect for that." The words should have hurt, but Rosalind felt nothing. She was beyond pain now. She had been cut so many times that she no longer bled. She climbed the stairs to her attic room. She sat on her bed. She stared at the cracked wall. In 1 week, she would marry a stranger. She would leave this house of cruelty. But would she go to something better? Or just a different kind of prison? She did not know. She did not hope. Hope was dangerous. Hope led to disappointment. She would simply endure, as she always had, as she always would. That night, she dreamed of a man with empty eyes. He stood in a dark room. She reached for him, but he turned away. When she looked down, she saw that she had become invisible, a ghost in her own dream. She woke with tears on her cheeks. The sun was rising. Birds sang outside her window. Somewhere people were happy, but not her. Never her. The wedding was small and cold. Rosalind wore a simple white dress. It had belonged to her mother. Lady Catherine had wanted to refuse it, but even she could not deny a bride her mother's dress. Rosalind stood at the altar. The Duke stood beside her. She had not met him before this moment. She did not dare look at his face. She kept her eyes on the floor. The priest spoke the words. The Duke's voice was deep and distant when he said his vows. Rosalind's voice was so soft, she barely heard herself. Then it was done. She was a duchess. The girl who slept in an attic was now one of the most titled women in England. It felt like a cruel joke. They rode in his carriage to his estate. He sat across from her. He did not speak. She did not speak. The silence was heavy and suffocating. She snuck a glance at him. He was handsome, dark hair, strong jaw, but his eyes were what caught her attention. They were gray like storm clouds, and they were empty. He looked at her. She dropped her gaze immediately, her hands twisted in her lap. "You need not fear me," he said. His voice was gentler than she expected. "I will not hurt you." She nodded but said nothing. What could she say? That she feared everyone? That kindness felt like a trap? That she expected nothing good from anyone? "You will have your own rooms," he continued. "You may do as you please during the day. I ask only that you appear at dinner and any social functions I must attend. Otherwise, we need not see each other much." Her heart sank. So it was true. He wanted a ghost wife, someone who would exist on paper but not in reality. "Yes, Your Grace," she whispered. "Adrian," he said. "You may call me Adrian when we are alone." She nodded again, but she knew she would never use his name. She would keep her distance. She would be what he wanted, invisible, quiet, nothing. The carriage arrived at Thornbury Hall. It was massive, beautiful, intimidating. Rosalind followed the Duke inside. A dozen servants lined the entrance hall. They bowed and curtsied. The housekeeper, Mrs. Davies, was a plump woman with kind eyes. She smiled at Rosalind. "Welcome, Your Grace," she said warmly. "We are so happy to have you here." Rosalind did not know what to say. No one had been happy to have her anywhere for years. "Thank you," she managed. Mrs. Davies showed her to her rooms. They were enormous. A sitting room, a bedroom with a bed bigger than her entire attic room, a dressing room full of gowns, a bathroom with hot water. "His Grace ordered new dresses for you," Mrs. Davies said. "If they do not fit, the seamstress will come tomorrow." Rosalind touched one of the gowns. The fabric was soft, beautiful. She had not owned a new dress in 3 years. "They are lovely," she said softly. "His Grace's rooms connect to yours through that door," Mrs. Davies said, pointing. "But he asked me to tell you it will remain locked unless you invite him in." Rosalind felt a strange mixture of relief and pain. Relief that she would not be forced. Pain that even her husband did not want her. "I understand," she said. Mrs. Davies hesitated. Then she patted Rosalind's arm gently. "You are safe here, dear. His Grace is a good man. He has been sad for a long time, but he is not cruel." Rosalind wanted to believe her, but she had learned not to trust kindness. It always had a price. That night, she dressed in one of the new nightgowns. It was soft against her skin. She climbed into the enormous bed. The mattress was thick and comfortable. The blankets were warm. The room was heated. She lay in luxury and felt more alone than ever. On the other side of the locked door, Adrian lay in his own bed. He stared at the ceiling. He thought about the girl he had married. She was so small, so quiet. She had barely looked at him. He felt a twinge of guilt. He had bought her like property, married her without even meeting her first, given her rooms and dresses, and asked nothing in return except that she exist quietly in his house. It was not fair to her, but he had nothing else to give. His heart was gone. His capacity for feeling was dead. She would have a comfortable life. That would have to be enough. He closed his eyes and dreamed of Elizabeth, as he did every night, as he always would. But somewhere in the dream, a small figure appeared, a girl with sad eyes and gentle hands. She stood in the shadows, watching, waiting. He did not know her, but something about her made his dead heart flutter. Just once, just for a moment. Then the dream faded, and he forgot her again. The first week of marriage passed in a strange dream. Rosalind woke each morning in her beautiful room. A maid brought her breakfast. She dressed in fine gowns. She walked the gardens. She sat in the library. And she felt like an intruder. Like at any moment, someone would realize the mistake. They would send her back to the attic, back to where she belonged. The Duke kept his word. She barely saw him. He spent his days managing the estate. He took meals in his study. At night, the door between their rooms stayed locked. She should have been happy. She was safe, warm, fed. No one hit her. No one mocked her. No one told her she was worthless. But the loneliness was crushing. On the 8th day, she found the music room. A pianoforte sat by the window. Her mother had taught her to play when she was young, but she had not touched an instrument in years. She sat at the bench. Her fingers found the keys. They were stiff at first, clumsy, but slowly the muscle memory returned. A simple melody emerged, then another, then a song her mother used to sing. She played for an hour, lost in the music, lost in memories of happier times. She did not hear the door open. She did not see the Duke standing in the doorway. She did not know he was watching her. Adrian had been walking past when he heard the music. It stopped him cold. No one had played that pianoforte since Elizabeth died. It had sat silent for 3 years. He looked inside. His wife sat at the bench. Her head was bowed. Her fingers moved over the keys with surprising skill. The song was sad but beautiful. It made something in his chest ache. He studied her, really looked at her for the first time. She was small and thin, too thin. Her dress hung on her like she was made of sticks. Her hair was pale brown and pulled back severely. Her face was pale, but her hands moved like birds in flight, graceful, certain, beautiful. The song ended. She sat still for a moment. Then she stood and turned. She gasped when she saw him. Her face went white. She dropped into a curtsy so low she nearly fell. "Your Grace," she whispered. "I am sorry. I should have asked permission. I will leave." "No," he said. The word came out too sharp. She flinched. He softened his voice. "No, please. You play beautifully." She looked at him in shock, like she could not believe he had complimented her. "My mother taught me," she said softly. "I have not played in years. I hope I did not disturb you." "You did not disturb me," he said. I enjoyed it." An awkward silence fell. She kept her eyes down, her hands twisted together. She looked ready to run. "Do you like the library?" he asked. He did not know why. He had promised himself he would keep his distance, but something made him want to keep her talking. "Yes, Your Grace," she said. "It is beautiful. I have never seen so many books." "You may read any of them you like," he said, "and you may play the pianoforte whenever you wish. You need not ask permission. This is your home now." She looked up then, just for a moment. Her eyes were brown, light brown like honey, and they were filled with such surprise that it hurt him. "Thank you, Your Grace," she said. Then she fled from the room. Adrian stood alone. The ghost of her music still hung in the air. He felt strange, off balance. For the first time in 3 years, something had penetrated the wall around his heart. A crack, small but real. He did not know if he should be grateful or terrified. After that day, things changed in small ways. At dinner, the Duke asked her questions. What had she read that day? Did she like the gardens? Was there anything she needed? Rosalind answered in short, quiet words. She still could not believe he was interested. She waited for the trap, for the cruelty she knew must be coming. But it never came. He was unfailingly polite, distant but not cold. He asked about her comfort. He noticed when she liked something. One day she mentioned she enjoyed strawberries. The next day, strawberries appeared at every meal. It confused her. She did not understand kindness without strings attached. The servants were kind too. Mrs. Davies fussed over her like a mother hen. The maids smiled at her. The cook made her favorite foods. Even the gardener, old Thomas, showed her the best roses and let her cut them for her room. "They like you," the Duke said one evening at dinner. Rosalind looked up in surprise. "Why would they like me? I am no one." His brow furrowed. "You are the Duchess of Thornbury. You are far from no one." "I am the same person I was before," she said softly. "A title does not change that." "What were you before?" he asked. She hesitated. She had never told anyone. But something about the way he looked at her made her feel safe. Just a little. "I was nothing," she said. "My mother died. My father remarried. My stepmother and stepsisters made me a servant in my own home. I slept in the attic. I cleaned and cooked and did whatever they asked. They told me I was ugly, worthless, too old to marry, a burden." Her voice was flat, emotionless. She had told this story to herself so many times that it no longer hurt. It was just facts, cold and simple. But the Duke's face changed. His jaw tightened. His eyes filled with something hot and fierce. "They were wrong," he said. His voice was low and intense. "You are not worthless. You are not ugly. You are not a burden." She stared at him. "You do not know me, Your Grace." "I know cruelty when I see its marks," he said. "I know you play music like an angel. I know you are kind to the servants. I know you read poetry and love strawberries and care for wounded birds." She blinked. "You notice such things?" "I notice you," he said. The words hung in the air. They both seemed surprised by them. Rosalind's heart beat faster. No one had noticed her in years. She had trained herself to be invisible, to disappear into the walls. But he saw her. He noticed her. It was terrifying and wonderful. "I notice you too," she said softly. "You are sad. You carry grief like a stone on your shoulders. You hide from the world in your study. But you are not unkind. You are gentle even in your pain." Now it was his turn to look shocked. No one spoke to him of his grief. No one acknowledged it. They pretended Elizabeth had never existed. They told him to move on, to forget. But this small, quiet woman saw straight through him. "My wife died," he said, 3 years ago. I loved her deeply. When she died, part of me died too." "I am sorry," Rosalind said. Tears filled her eyes. Not for herself. For him. For his loss. "I married you poorly," he continued, "without thought for what you might want, without care for anything but my own convenience. That was wrong of me." "You gave me safety," she said. "Warmth, food, kindness. That is more than I hoped for." "You should hope for more," he said. "You should hope for happiness, for love, for joy." "Should not you hope for the same?" she asked. The question caught him off guard. He had stopped hoping for anything 3 years ago. He existed. That was all. But looking at her now, at her honest brown eyes and her gentle expression, he felt something stir. Something he thought was dead forever. Hope. Tiny and fragile, but real. "Perhaps," he said quietly. "Perhaps I should." That night, the door between their rooms stayed locked, but both of them lay awake, thinking of the other, wondering. Something was growing between them. Neither understood it yet, neither trusted it, but it was there, a seed planted in dark soil, waiting for light. Spring turned to summer. The estate blazed with flowers. Rosalind spent her mornings in the garden. The Duke began joining her. They walked together in comfortable silence. Sometimes they talked about small things, the weather, the flowers, books they had read. He learned that she loved poetry. He brought her a first edition of Byron's works. She cried when she opened it. No one had ever given her such a gift. She learned that he loved astronomy. He had a telescope in his study. One clear night he brought her there. He showed her the stars. He taught her their names. She stood close to him, looking through the telescope. He could smell roses in her hair, feel the warmth of her body near his. Something shifted in his chest. Something dangerous and wonderful. One afternoon, they were walking in the garden when a storm came suddenly. Rain poured down. They ran for the house. By the time they reached the door, they were soaked. Rosalind was laughing. He realized he had never heard her laugh before. It was a beautiful sound, free and joyful. She looked up at him. Her hair clung to her face. Her dress clung to her body. Water dripped from her nose. She was beautiful, truly beautiful. How had he not seen it before? "You are staring," she said, but she was smiling. "You are laughing," he replied. "I like it." She blushed and looked away, but the smile stayed. They went to change, but the memory of her laughter stayed with him. It played in his mind like music. That night at dinner, he poured her wine. Their fingers touched. A spark jumped between them. They both pulled back, but their eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them. Recognition, attraction, possibility. "Rosalind," he said. It was the first time he had used her name. "Yes?" she whispered. "I am glad you are here." Such simple words, but they meant everything. I am glad too, she said. After dinner, he walked her to her room. He had never done that before. At her door, he paused. Good night, he said. Good night, Adrian. His name from her lips. It sent warmth through him. He wanted to touch her, to cup her face, to kiss her. But it was too soon. She had been hurt too much. He would not rush her. He would wait. He was good at waiting. He had waited 3 years for his heart to wake up. He could wait a little longer. But that night, he dreamed of her instead of Elizabeth, and when he woke, he felt guilty, and relieved, and hopeful. The door between their rooms was still locked, but it would not be for much longer. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday. Rosalind was in the library. She stood on a ladder, reaching for a high shelf. The ladder wobbled. She lost her balance. Strong arms caught her. Adrian had been passing by. He heard the ladder creak. He ran in just in time. She fell against his chest, his arms wrapped around her. They stood frozen. Her hands clutched his shirt, his heart pounded against her palm. "Are you hurt?" he asked. His voice was rough. "No," she breathed. "You caught me." "I will always catch you," he said. She looked up at him. His face was inches from hers. His grey eyes were no longer empty. They burned with something fierce and tender. "Adrian," she whispered. He lowered his head, slowly, giving her time to pull away. But she did not move. She tilted her face up. Their lips met, soft and gentle. A question, an answer, a promise. The kiss deepened. His arms tightened around her. Her hands slid into his hair. 3 years of loneliness, 25 years of neglect, all of it melted away in that kiss. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. Both were shaking. "I did not think I could feel this again," he said. "I did not think I wanted to. But you woke something in me." "I have never felt this," she said. "I did not know I could. I did not know anyone would want me." "I want you," he said fiercely. "Not as a convenient wife, not as a ghost, as a woman, as my partner, as my love." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I am afraid." "So am I," he admitted. "Loving someone means risking loss. I know that better than anyone. But losing you without ever truly having you would be worse." "You have me," she said. "You have had me for weeks. I just did not dare hope you wanted me too." "I want you," he said again. "I love you, Rosalind. I love your kindness, your strength, your music, your laughter. I love everything about you." "I love you too," she said. "I did not mean to. I tried not to, but I cannot help it. You are good and gentle, and you see me, really see me. No one has ever done that before." He kissed her again, deeper this time, more certain. His hands cupped her face like she was precious, fragile, worth protecting. "Come to me tonight," he said. "Let me show you how much I love you. Let me prove that you are wanted, cherished, adored." She nodded, unable to speak, unable to think of anything but him. That night, the door between their rooms opened for the first time. She walked through in her nightgown, trembling but willing. He was waiting. He took her hand, led her to his bed, showed her with kisses and touches, and whispered words that she was beautiful, that she was wanted, that she was loved. And for the first time in her life, Rosalind believed it. The next weeks were golden. They were inseparable. They walked the gardens holding hands. They rode horses together. They read books aloud to each other. They made love with growing passion and tenderness. The servants smiled and whispered. The Duke was different. The sadness had lifted. He laughed, he smiled, he looked alive again. And the Duchess bloomed like a flower. She gained weight, her face filled out, her eyes sparkled. She held her head high. She was beautiful. Everyone could see it now. "You glow," Mrs. Davies said one morning. Rosalind blushed. I am happy. His Grace is happy too, the housekeeper said. You have healed him, given him a reason to live again. He has healed me too, Rosalind said softly. It was true. She was not the broken girl who arrived 3 months ago. She had found her voice, her strength, her worth. Love had transformed her. Not just his love, her own love. For the first time, she loved herself, saw value in herself, believed she deserved happiness. One evening, Adrian took her to his study. He led her to his desk. A velvet box sat there. Open it, he said. Inside was a necklace. Diamonds and emeralds formed a rose. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. It was my grandmother's, he said. She was the love of my grandfather's life. He gave it to her on their first anniversary. I want you to have it. Adrian, it is too much. It is not enough, he said. Nothing would be enough to show you how I feel, but it is a start. He fastened it around her neck. The jewels were cool against her skin. He kissed her shoulder, then her neck, then her lips. I want to give you the world, he murmured. I want to make up for every moment of pain you suffered. I want to fill your life with joy. You already have, she said. You are my world, my joy, my everything. They made love right there in his study, urgent and sweet, lost in each other. Afterward, wrapped in his arms, she felt safe, whole, complete. But happiness never lasts forever, and darkness was coming. The letter arrived on a Thursday. The Duke was in London on business. Rosalind was alone in the house. Lady Catherine had written. She demanded money, a large sum. If Rosalind did not pay, she would tell the Duke lies about Rosalind's past. She would claim Rosalind had been improper, had been with other men, that she had tricked the Duke into marriage. Rosalind's hands shook as she read. Old fears rose up. Old doubts. What if Adrian believed the lies? What if he thought she had deceived him? What if he sent her away? She could not bear to lose him. Not now. Not when she had finally found happiness. But she could not give Lady Catherine money without telling Adrian. And if she told him, he would be furious. He would confront her stepmother. There would be scandal. She sat in her room, frozen with terror. The old Rosalind would have given in, would have paid, would have hidden the truth. But she was not that girl anymore. Adrian had taught her to be strong, to stand up for herself. She would tell him the truth. She would trust him, trust their love. When he returned that evening, she met him in his study. She handed him the letter without a word. He read it. His face went dark with fury. "This woman dares to threaten you?" he said. His voice was low and dangerous. "To blackmail you?" "She will tell lies," Rosalind said. Her voice trembled. "She will say terrible things about me. People might believe her. You might—" "Might what?" He crossed to her, took her face in his hands. "Might believe lies over the woman I love? Over the woman I know? Rosalind, I know you. I know your heart, your soul. No lie could change that." "But if people talk—" "Let them talk," he said fiercely. "I do not care. You are my wife, my duchess, my love. Anyone who speaks against you speaks against me, and they will learn that I am not a man to cross." Relief flooded through her. He believed her. He trusted her. "What will you do?" she asked. "I will deal with your stepfamily," he said, "and they will never bother you again." The next day he rode to her father's house. Rosalind went with him. She was afraid, but she was not alone. Lady Catherine looked shocked when they arrived. She had expected Rosalind to come alone, to come crawling. She had not expected the Duke. "Your Grace," Lady Catherine said. She tried to smile. "What a pleasure." "It is no pleasure," Adrian said coldly. "You have attempted to blackmail my wife. That is a crime. I could have you arrested." Lady Catherine went pale. I only wanted—" "You wanted money," he said. "You have spent your life abusing my wife, making her a slave, telling her she was worthless. Well, let me tell you something. She is worth more than you will ever be. She has more grace in her little finger than you have in your entire body." He turned to Rosalind's father. "And you let this happen. You abandoned your daughter, sold her to me like cattle. You are no father. You are a coward." Her father could not meet his eyes. "I am offering you a choice," Adrian continued. "You will sign papers relinquishing all claims to Rosalind. You will never contact her again. You will never speak her name, and in return, I will not destroy you. I have the power to ruin you financially and socially. Do not doubt that I will use it." "You cannot," Lady Catherine started. "I can," Adrian said, "and I will. Sign the papers or face the consequences." They signed. What choice did they have? The Duke of Thornbury could crush them with a word. As they left, Rosalind turned back. She looked at the people who had hurt her for so long. They looked small now, petty, powerless. "I forgive you," she said quietly. "Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." Then she took Adrian's hand and walked away. She did not look back. In the carriage she cried, but they were tears of release, of freedom. "You are safe now," Adrian said. He held her close. "No one will ever hurt you again, I swear it." "You fought for me," she said. "No one has ever done that." "I will always fight for you," he said. "You are my wife, my love, my life." She kissed him, poured all her love and gratitude into that kiss. They had faced the darkness together, and they had won. But the darkness was not quite done. Word of the confrontation spread. Society loves gossip, and gossip about a duke is especially delicious. Whispers began. Some people took Lady Catherine's side. They said Rosalind had bewitched the duke, that she was common, that she had no business being a duchess. An old acquaintance of Adrian's, Lord Pemberton, was especially vocal. He had wanted to marry his daughter to Adrian. He was angry that Adrian had chosen a nobody instead. At a ball, Lord Pemberton made his feelings known, loudly, in front of everyone. "She is a servant girl playing dress-up," he said. "She has no breeding, no class. She will embarrass you, Thornbury." Adrian went very still. Rosalind felt him tense beside her. "Be careful what you say next," Adrian said quietly. "I speak the truth," Lord Pemberton said. "You married beneath you. Everyone knows it." Adrian moved fast. One moment he was beside Rosalind. The next he had Lord Pemberton by the collar. "My wife is the finest woman in this room," Adrian said. His voice was cold as ice. "She has more integrity in her smallest toe than you have in your entire family line. You will apologize. Now." "I will not," Lord Pemberton blustered. "Then you will leave," Adrian said, "and you will not be welcome in any house I have influence over, which is most of them." The ballroom went silent. Everyone watched. This was high drama. The Duke defending his common wife. Lord Pemberton looked around. He saw no support, only judgment. He had gone too far. "I apologize," he muttered. "Louder," Adrian demanded. "And to my wife, not to me." Lord Pemberton turned to Rosalind. "I apologize, Your Grace." Rosalind stood tall. She did not cower. She met his eyes. "I accept your apology," she said. Her voice was clear and strong. "I hope you learn to judge people by their character rather than their birth." The room erupted in whispers, but they were approving whispers now. The Duchess had shown grace. The Duke had shown loyalty. Adrian took Rosalind's hand. He led her to the center of the ballroom. "I would like to dance with my wife," he announced. "Will someone play a waltz?" Music started. They danced, and slowly other couples joined them. The moment passed. But something had changed. Rosalind was no longer just the Duke's wife. She was the Duchess of Thornbury, in her own right, with her own strength. That night in their room, she stood before the mirror. She wore the rose necklace. Her hair was down. She looked at herself. She saw a woman, strong, beautiful, loved. "I am not afraid anymore," she said. Adrian came up behind her. He wrapped his arms around her waist, kissed her shoulder. "You were never weak," he said. "You were always strong. You just needed someone to show you." "We saved each other," she said. "Yes," he agreed. "We did." They made love that night with new intensity, new certainty. They were no longer two broken people. They were whole, together. 3 months later, Rosalind had news. She was with child, Adrian's heir, their baby. When she told him, he wept. He had not wept since Elizabeth died, but these were tears of joy, of hope, of new life. "You have given me everything," he said. "Love, hope, purpose, and now a child. How can I ever thank you?" "You already have," she said. "Every day, with every kindness, every touch, every word of love." They planned for the baby. A nursery was prepared, clothes were sewn, names were chosen. But one shadow remained. Adrian had not visited Elizabeth's grave since marrying Rosalind. He felt guilty, like he was betraying Elizabeth by being happy. Rosalind noticed. She always noticed. "You should visit her," she said one day. "She was your first love. That does not disappear, and I am not jealous of the dead." "You are wise beyond measure," he said. They went together, to the churchyard, to Elizabeth's grave. Adrian knelt. Rosalind stood back, giving him space. "I am sorry I have not come," he said to the stone. "I was lost. I wanted to die with you. But someone found me. She brought me back to life. You would like her, I think. She is kind, gentle, strong. She loves me, and I love her. I will always love you. But I am learning that the heart is big enough for many loves. Thank you for the years we had. Rest well, my friend." He stood, tears on his cheeks, but his heart felt lighter. Rosalind took his hand. They walked away together. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For understanding. For not asking me to forget. For loving me despite my scars." "We all have scars," she said. "Mine are just different from yours. But together, we are healing. Together, we are whole." That night, as they lay in bed, her head on his chest, his hand on her growing belly, they talked about the future. "I want our child to know love," she said. "Real love, unconditional. I want them to never doubt their worth." "They will know," he promised, "because they will see how I love you, how you love me. They will grow up in warmth and safety and joy." "We will be good parents," she said. "The best," he agreed. They fell asleep wrapped in each other, content, complete, home. The baby came in spring, a daughter, perfect and healthy. They named her Clara Rose, Clara for Adrian's grandmother, Rose for Rosalind. Holding her daughter for the first time, Rosalind cried. This tiny person was hers, would never be told she was worthless, would never sleep in an attic, would never doubt that she was loved. Adrian looked at his wife and daughter. His heart was full to bursting. "I was dead for 3 years," he said, "but you brought me back to life. You gave me everything. You gave me love, hope, purpose, our daughter, our future. How did I survive before you?" "You did not survive," Rosalind said gently. "You existed, but now we both live, truly live." He kissed her, soft and sweet, a promise, a thank you, a forever. The servants crowded around, admiring the baby. Mrs. Davies cried. Thomas brought roses from the garden. The whole household was joyful. That evening, Adrian sent announcements. The Duke and Duchess of Thornbury were pleased to announce the birth of their daughter. No word came from Rosalind's father, or her stepfamily. She had meant what she said. She forgave them, but she did not need them. She had her own family now, one built on love. Friends came to visit, brought gifts, admired Clara Rose, told Rosalind she glowed with happiness, told Adrian he looked 10 years younger. One visitor stood out, Lady Hartwell, Adrian's aunt, the woman who had pushed him to marry. She held Clara with expert hands, studied the baby with keen eyes. "She has your mother's nose," she told Adrian, "and your wife's gentle spirit." Then she looked at Rosalind, really looked at her. "I chose well," she said. "I knew you would be perfect for him." "You chose me?" Rosalind asked in surprise. "Of course," Lady Hartwell said. "Did you think it was accident? I heard about you from a friend, a girl treated cruelly but remaining kind. I knew that kind of strength was rare. I knew my nephew needed someone with inner steel wrapped in gentleness. I was right." Rosalind did not know what to say. Someone had seen her worth, even when she could not see it herself. "Thank you," she whispered. "No," Lady Hartwell said. "Thank you. You saved him, and now you have given him a beautiful family. You have done well, Duchess." Coming from Lady Hartwell, that was high praise indeed. Years passed. Clara Rose grew. She was followed by a son, then another daughter. The nursery was full of laughter and love. Rosalind became known for her charity work. She helped women in difficult situations, women like she had once been. She gave them hope, safety, second chances. Adrian supported her completely. He was proud of his wife, his partner, his love. They grew old together, grey hair, wrinkles, bodies that moved slower, but their love never dimmed. If anything, it grew stronger, deeper, more certain. On their 20th anniversary, Adrian gave her a gift, a journal. Inside was a note. This journal belonged to a dying man, a man with no hope, no future, no reason to live. But a woman saved him. She taught him to love again, to hope again, to live again. I fill these pages with my gratitude. 1 page for each day of our marriage. 7,300 pages, and still not enough to contain my love. Every page had a note, a memory, a reason why he loved her. Rosalind cried as she read. Happy tears, grateful tears. "You saved me too," she said. "I was nothing. You showed me I was everything." "You were always everything," he said. "I just opened your eyes." They renewed their vows that day, in the garden, surrounded by children and grandchildren and friends. And when Adrian said, "I do," everyone heard the depth of his commitment, the totality of his love. And when Rosalind said, "I do," everyone heard her strength, her certainty, her joy. Two broken people had found each other, had healed each other, had built a life of beauty from ashes of pain. That night in their room she wore the rose necklace. Her hair was gray now, her face lined with age. But to him, she was still the most beautiful woman in the world. "I love you," he said, as he did every night. "I love you," she replied, as she did every night. And they fell asleep wrapped in each other, as they would for the rest of their lives. From cruelty had come kindness, from pain had come joy, from death had come life. And two souls who thought they were beyond saving found salvation in each other. The title of their story could have been tragic. "You think me a fool," the Duke laughed, as her own poison began to choke him. But there was no poison, only love, pure and transforming. And they lived happily, not just after, but always. forever.